Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the BUHS District 6 meeting, Monday, November 7th. And I appreciate the fact that for at least a couple of you, this is your third school board-related meeting of the day, which speaks to the dedication of the BAMS committee and the budget committee. So hopefully we won't, it'll work expeditiously here and not have it too late. Clerk's report. Approval of minutes of October 17th, which I believe were circulated around well in advance of this meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at them. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Are there any comments, additions, corrections, deletions? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of October 17th as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention.
Okay. Recognition of groups or individuals. I don't see that we have any guests in the audience at this point. So we will move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to go into consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposition or abstention? I don't think you should be abstaining from that, hopefully. Okay, we'll start with finance and our new reporter.
Okay, finance lost its chair, resigned, and so at our meeting on October 17th, we quickly reorganized ourselves, and Bob Woodworth was elected chair, Ruth Barton vice chair, and we approved warrants numbers 1066 through 1074, a total amount of $254,415.03. And we had no payrolls, and Robert Clark, Plant Services Director, joined us and gave us a preview of a capital plan that he is putting together, and we had a brief discussion of that. And our next meeting will be on November
9th.
At a slightly different
at
time.
8:15 a.m. instead of 7:45. Guess we're going to let me sleep.
Some of us are adjusting to the new opening schedule of school for logistically.
Oh, so what's listed on the agenda is wrong. It says we're talking to the Finance Committee. It says BUHS Finance Committee will meet at 7:45.
It's at 8:15. Didn't catch that when I read the agenda. We went back and forth trying to figure out what works best for people that have children to be brought in places. Anything else? That it, Ruth?
I believe that's,
Okay.
unless you have something more to
No,
add.
that was the basics of it. Okay, thank you. Planning and policy.
Has not met.
We do have some policies for...
We have some policies
under
for our final adoption today.
For final adoption, okay. Teacher Curriculum Committee.
Has not met since our last meeting.
Okay. How about the BAMS Committee?
BAMS Committee met this morning at 7:30, and we got a preview of the budget process from Ingrid, and that went really well. So I think that it's been passed on to the Budget Committee at this point.
Yes, it has, and after that, we met at 5 p.m. today, and Ingrid went through the budget completely with us. As always, she prepares a very thorough analysis of each department. It's quite easy as a board member to see what's happening. He has a very responsible budget, with actually a slight decrease in discretionary categories. without affecting negatively any of the offerings that we have. So it's not a negative effect at all on the kids, positive effect on the kids, but extremely responsible budgeting, in our opinion, at this point. There are a couple of slight revisions probably that will be made, not as a result of our critiquing, but it has to be tweaked just a little bit. But that was our first budget meeting, and very impressive job. Ingrid.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Davidson, do you want to say anything about the process we're using for hiring an assistant principal?
I could. Yes. We also this morning met and per contract, as of right now, the current assistant principal at BAMS is an interim position, so it had to be posted for a permanent assistant principal. That's been posted internally. Candidates have till the end of the day today to get information in, get applications in, and then those will get reviewed appropriately as we go. So there is the process of beginning to look for a permanent assistant principal.
Thank you. WRCC. We haven't met since the last meeting.
I don't believe
Before
so.
the last one, was it?
Yeah, we met on the 27th.
Well, that was after the last meeting, wasn't it? Do I agree to do the report on that?
Fine, I can give you if you'd like.
Why don't you do that?
We talked about our career enrollment at the time. We discussed the new engineering pathway, the new agricultural pathway, and we also discussed the WRCC vehicles and possible replacements.
Yes, the vehicle list, which is, there are quite a few on there. It's a pretty sizable fleet, but it's being some creative thoughts as to how to utilize it and keep expenses under control. My apologies, I forgot that meeting was since our last one. The timeline, I get out of it for a little bit. Okay. Any other committee reports? Okay. Is there anything else for consent agenda? No? If not, is there a motion to accept consent agenda?
Second.
And Ricky, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, unanimous. We move on to administrative reports. And let's see, why don't we've been talking about BAMS a little bit. Why don't we just keep right on that road?
All right, very good. It's brief. I've had a lot of talking time today. Our parent conferences are this week. I'd mentioned it at the last meeting. So they're coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 4-hour blocks each day, starting Wednesday evening. Just remind the parents of that. Next Tuesday evening, we have our first music concert of the year for members of the public, parents. We also have a music assembly that same afternoon at 2 o'clock for our student body. Beam's Family Night is the day after that. It's Wednesday, November 16th. We typically have a family night after each session, invite the parents in, showcase the work kids have been doing, provide refreshments generally made by the kids in one of their clubs, and we get a terrific turnout at the family nights. It's wonderful. And the only other thing is I'm going to be on medical leave as of November 18th is my last school day, and I'll be back. I'm expecting to be back on January 3rd. So Mr. Bertie Sprague will be coming in to help in the office. Miss Curry will assume my responsibilities in my absence, and Mr. Sprague will help Miss Curry out in the office. And I don't think I'll be attending board meetings in December at this point, but I'm not certain yet.
I'm sure you'll be able to stay away from
I'm going to direct her not to.
too much excitement. I can
We could
understand
Skype. Well, I just wanted you to know that he's going to, Mr. Sprague has willingly, I'm delighted that he was available and was able to come in. So. And that's it.
Okay, how about the Career Center?
Career Center, we have, I think it's 8 students returning tonight from
Pennsylvania, where they've been at the FBLA Leadership Conference. We hope they land safely, for sure. Next Tuesday, November 15th, is the second Regional Advisory Board meeting for WRCC at Twin Valley. They start at noon. And this week, we're also having a day and a half of professional development. WRCC staff will be on Thursday doing a harassment and bullying workshop. And on Friday, we're going to be working on our professional learning communities. And primarily, the two areas we're working on is a vision for the Career Center and work on assessment, student assessment, both in the classroom for some summative assessment to figure, to look at the actual assessment of learning from the standpoint of how much they've accomplished, and also the formative assessment as to looking at the actual instruction and how well that's going. And last week we brought 50 juniors and seniors to Greenfield Community College for a tour of that facility, and the goal was, as part of our college awareness, just to get kids on a college campus, and that seemed to be quite successful.
And budget review for the Career Center will be next Tuesday.
At the 15th, yes.
At the Hideaway.
At the Hideaway, and I will be bribing you, I promise.
That's what I was. That's an unfair advantage to have over the other two, I think. Okay, thank you, Dave. BOHS?
So a couple of things. First, I'd like to highlight the work that Robert Clark, our facilities manager, has been doing. We recently received a monetary award from the state of Vermont for our exterior induction lighting project. And while we got a modest cash reward, that's also going to recognize significant savings in our costs for electricity. And Robert really has taken that initiative by the horns. He's also working on improving our recycling processes, and he's estimated that we can save 1/3 of our garbage stream if we can divert it to recycling. And so he's pretty excited about that. He's approached me about using some other ways to encourage recycling among our staff. But he deserves a lot of credit for that, and he's really committed to that. On November... Yeah.
Facilities manager.
He's the facilities manager for BOHS number 6. On November 1st, we had a visit from Ned Gallagher from the NEASC. And Ned is our liaison as we're getting ready for our accreditation process. We did get our decennial visit rescheduled. So our decennial visit was in the spring of 2013. Now it's in the fall of 2013. We'd asked for that extension. That visit's going to be November 17th through the 20th. As part of that, we're doing an extensive self-study. That self-study is going to start in January, and we have standards, chairs in place, and the entire NEASC self-study will be chaired by Doug Kroc and Gary Blomgren. They've agreed to chair that process. As part of that, we have to do extensive student outreach and parent outreach, and so I'm actually excited to do that, to kind of get some data from parents and students about their perception of where we are in various facets of the school. Last Friday, we had our Diversity Day, our Fall Diversity Day. The focus was on food and sustainability, and had several presentations throughout the day on that topic. We ended the day with a percussionist who was wonderful. He invited students up to play along. He had a wide variety of Middle Eastern and African instruments that he allowed everybody to play. That was a really special time. And finally, we are having a staff and family art show. We've never done this before. We're kind of excited about this. And that's being spearheaded by our art department. It's going to open at 5:30 on the 16th and be open all day on the 17th. It features artwork from staff members, not just our art department, but any staff members and their family, and several faculty members and, I might say, administrators have entered their children's work in that. So it's kind of a neat chance to see what everybody's doing. As part of that, there will also be a cake judging. There'll be a cooking demonstration, and there'll be some art performances. So we're pretty excited about that as well. So that's it.
Great, a lot going on. Student council, anything to add to them?
No, they're gearing up. Right now, they're gearing up for Project Feed the Thousands. That's going to be a school-wide assembly on November 16th.
Thank you. Central office.
Yeah, brief report. We did get a letter of interest from Lori Cartwright for the BUHS 6 position for vacancy. Lori currently serves as a board member on the Brattleboro Town board, so she's interested in this position. We heard recently that there's somebody else that might be interested, so that person would be notifying my office. I'll just send that around. You can return that. It's the Brattleboro Town board that would make the appointment to this board.
I suppose. Is there a date by which they need to see?
I'd have to check that. If you have somebody interested, I'll get that information. We're going to request it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Another meeting that's being scheduled is our board committee to start negotiations. And we have set a date for November 29th at 5:45. And the committee membership includes Amy Dews from as chair of the SU board, Rick Mills from Dummerston. I have not confirmed Putney Central's representative. Margaret Atkinson from Brattleboro Town, Bob Woodworth from this board, Carol Mills from Guilford, and Kelly Lee Allen from Turner. So we'll get that started on November 29th. And, I want to add just to confirm what Bob was talking about in terms of the budget process. Ingrid presented the budget for BAMS tonight. We have another meeting next Tuesday for the Career Center, probably the next week for the high school, 21st. And then Jim will schedule some other times for the district-wide and other aspects of the budget. So the first go-around looks very good in terms of the overall summary of the budget. And so it's kind of nice that we're starting the year in a good budget cycle in a good way. And so we'll be able to report back on that as we get the presentations of each budget. That's it for me, unless you have some questions.
I just was wondering, you had talked about a while back about the Fiber Connect project. Is that still in the works?
Yep. There will be a commitment this budget year to engage in that. I don't have the specifics with me, but whatever we talked about at that last time,
Yeah.
that's the expectation in terms of making a connection with that project.
I've been reading a little bit more about it, and it seems like a great idea. Be beneficial for everyone. Okay, as far as the board chair report, the only thing I have to report is that I attended the Vermont Transparency Tour meeting, which was held in Brattleboro. Secretary of State Jim Condos came down with a couple other people from Montpelier, and the two topics of the meeting were basically the open meeting laws and, how those are supposed to go and revisions that have been made over the recent years. And then the other thing is public records, which was a little bit more geared towards town clerks, who there were several of there. But I thought it was interesting, the open meeting, everything he went through, and I was keeping an eye to how do we seem to do, and we are following the procedures. When we have our meetings, we're doing proper warning. We are allowing discourse when it's appropriate, when the public does come. And I was pretty much, as we went through point by point, I could say that we were following the regulations appropriately. So it was worthwhile time spent. I didn't have a lot of previous experience with open meeting laws, and there was some good questions. So I think that's about it for me. Okay, I guess we can move on to unfinished business, and we'll turn the floor over to Ian for policies.
All right, we have 5 policies ready for final adoption. So I would like to move that the board adopt policy D5, personnel files, as written.
Second.
Okay. Are there any, this is the third shot at this, I believe. Are there any Other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to accept as written?
That's
You
what I
made
just
the
made.
motion and seconded it. You just-
Okay, all right, for adoption, all right, then all in favor, I'm sorry, all in favor of this policy D5, personnel files?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that one's approved.
I would like to move that the board adopt policy E4, financial reports and statements, as written.
Second.
Okay, second, Ricky or Ruth. Any comments regarding that? Okay, all in favor? Policy E4, financial reports and statements.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next.
I move that the board adopt policy E5, risk management, as written.
Second.
Diane. Any comments on that one? Okay, not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous? Next.
Move that the board adopt policy G8, local action plan, as written.
I would like to second that. You may. Any comments on this one?
I would like to make a comment on this and the next, but I'll just roll them together. The local action plan, along with the annual reporting system, you recall this has been in effect for a while under Act 60 initially back in 1997, and then revised in Act 68. All of our schools in each district in Vermont have the responsibility of creating a local action plan. Our districts have done a really good job working with staff to create those action plans. And in some schools that are identified for school improvement, there's kind of more emphasis on the action plan in terms of following through on the annual expectations. The annual school reports, some of it you will see at your annual meeting. The central office creates like an 8-page document that just provides a basic summary, but also your budget summary is part of that annual reporting requirement. And then at the end of the year, I'm not sure if I brought a copy of this, but it's online at the SU website, but it's about a 100-page report that has all of the requirements of the annual report as required by the state, and also No Child Left Behind. So it is a very comprehensive document. So these policies would just confirm that we're doing that.
Any other comments on G8? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. And last but not least, H6.
I move we adopt policy H6, annual school reports, as written.
Second. Second, Ricky. Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Again, unanimous. Are there more
Not this time.
someone?
I don't have any more in type right now.
Okay.
There'll be a series of 5 more that will bring before the SU, and some of those are mandatory, so we'll, like the records check, we know that's been an updated policy by statute, so those will be coming forward.
Well, that's okay during budget season if we have a little bit of a break from policy decisions. Okay. Any new business? There is some authorization to rename the Brattleboro Savings and Loan Swiss trip account to the BUHS Swiss Costa Rica trip account. Is that, who's going to talk about that?
Yeah, it's just because the trips have changed a little bit in terms of the teachers that coordinate these programs. We just need to have the debit cards and reconciliation related to both the student trips. This would eliminate opening another bank account. So it's really just for bank record keeping and for our internal auditing.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ruth.
I would move that the former BS&L Swiss trip account be renamed the BUHS Swiss Costa Rica trip account.
Is there a second? Seconded. By Sean. Any discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That's unanimous. Next item, authorization to establish a cash account for the Terry Chapin Memorial Scholarship at River Valley Credit Union, the WRCC branch.
So, some of you may know that recently Terry Chapin, a graduate of UHS, passed away, and there's a scholarship being established in his name, a memorial scholarship. So we would need to establish that as part of our one of our scholarships. And it's through the River Valley Credit Union. So we just need a motion to
I would move authorization to establish a cash account for the Terry Chapin Memorial Scholarship at the River Valley Credit Union, Wyndham Regional Career Center branch.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? This is pretty much standard procedure for all of these scholarship funds that are directly run through here.
Yeah, and it's, you know, whoever's setting this up is designating this institution to run it through. So they have the choice to do that.
Are there any parameters for the scholarship itself?
I don't know.
Has that been developed yet?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's been established yet.
But the scholarship committee will be dealing with that as we get into the spring, I believe.
Yep.
Could you identify the scholarship committee?
What's that?
Who is the scholarship committee, actually?
For the past few years, it's been chaired by Scott Noren and Cheryl Liberdoni. They've kind of shared co-chair duties, and then there's representatives from each department that join that committee, and that changes from year to year. So it's generally made up of a group of teachers.
And then the Regional Career Center has scholarships that are generated through the community, and it's usually the group that establishes the scholarship will be involved with the process of naming the recipient each year. And in some cases, they work with the teachers.
We work with the teachers. We have a committee, you know, Ann Doran usually leads it at our guidance coordinator with a variety of faculty and staff to help her out with that.
The reason I ask is an individual passed away in Guilford, and his wife is interested in establishing the scholarship. So I've had her contact the high school, so I hope that it's, in the right direction.
Okay. I had somebody talk to me.
I can speak with you.
Okay, we should talk about it. Because I had somebody approach me last summer.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor of establishing a cash account for the Terry Chapin Memorial Scholarship, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We're kind of a unanimous group here tonight, aren't we? Not a lot of controversial
It's
votes.
been released.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's why I did say.
I would move to adjourn.